Today I want to talk about Jackal's nerf and why I think it's such a great thing. Normally when you hear an operator is being nerfed, you assume the worst, because obviously they're going to be less powerful than they were before, but in certain cases nerfs can actually be a good thing. Like in the case of Vigil and Kavera, their gadgets got nerfed, but you can now turn them on and off at will rather than turning them on once and having to wait for them to run out. So just like that, I think this nerf is great for Jackal. Now, if you play a Jackal a lot like I do, and you do really well, one of the most common things you're told by the enemy team is that Jackal is a zero skill operator and that you should play someone that, actually takes a while to learn. And I can understand where they're coming from. Jackal is pretty much the opposite of Lion. You push a button and it tells you where someone is for the next 5 pings and it forces them to move around. So it's minimal risk with all the rewards, but at the same time, there are a lot of strats that you can use with Jackal to get footprints, destroying the floorboards from above or below, and using his utility really well. And I think this separates the good Jackal players from the bad ones. So Jackal takes some skill, but again, I can understand where they're coming from. So here's why I think this nerf is such a great thing. So I'm going to show you 2 clips now. The first one here is how Jackal works in the live game. So Mozzie comes outside to spawn peek, doesn't find anyone, goes back inside. I rappel up there to scan his footprints. First of all, the footprints don't disappear when you scan, and that's an instant 5 pings for me. So I can either follow his footprints to exactly where he is, or I can just go straight to his last ping location, which is what I do. Now, because of the pings, I know he's in the room next to the armory, and I heard the door broke down, so he either is going to rotate around to jump through the window that I just came through, or he's going to come back my direction. And again, the pings are telling me that he's going to come my direction, which is what happens. So was that fair to Mozzie? No, because when you're being tracked by Jackal, there is absolutely nothing that you can do besides run and hide or kill him. But I mean, there are a lot of gadgets in Siege that aren't fair, but this is how Jackal works now after the nerf. They made so many changes, I don't know why they just didn't call it rework, because you kind of have to play Jackal a lot differently now. But anyways, so the first thing they did was they added more colors. Instead of it going red, yellow, green, it's now red, yellow, green, blue, and I think purple. Don't trust me with those colors, I'll explain why in a minute, but they've added more colors. So the first thing this does is gives you a more accurate reading of the age of the footprint, meaning how long ago that person was here. I'll bring up the little timers at the side so you can see, but my favorite feature about this is they actually added these little notches around the footprints, which is useful because if you're colorblind like me, then the blue and the green, they tend to look very similar, so getting an accurate reading isn't gonna make much sense. So instead, I use the notches around the footprints as timers instead. The smaller the notches, the further away the person is, and as you get closer and closer, they get a lot bigger until the point where it's only 3 notches and they're like really wide around the footprint. So I love that feature. I'm not sure if they added it purposely for colorblind people or they just thought it looked cool. Either way, it works out in my favor. So that's great, but that's not all the added colors do. Not only does it give you a more accurate representation of how long ago the person was here, it also represents the amount of pings you will get. Yeah, you can no longer just get 5 pings by scanning any color footprint. The colors also represent the amount of pings you'll get. So if you scan a red footprint, you will now get the full 5 pings. If you scan a blue or green, you're gonna get 1 or 2 pings, and I think yellow is 3 pings. But that's not the biggest change. The biggest change is that when you scan footprints now, they actually disappear and you can only see the ping instead. So this adds a layer of difficulty to Jackal because you now have a choice. Do you scan the footprint and bring up the ping for your entire team, or do you go and track down this person so you can get more pings? And the pings themselves also got changed. The time between the pings is actually a bit longer now, so it's kind of less accurate to track that person if you choose to track that person's footprints. It's more of a case of this is general area of where they were last, and if you choose to manually track them down by following their footprints, the risk is a lot higher because, as I've experienced, you might run into another operator on the defending side, or they might run down a hallway and then turn around and just be waiting for you to follow them. So the risk for playing Jackal is a bit higher now, but it also adds a bit more communication because honestly, Jackal is kind of the best solo operator you can play. Your team is not communicating, that's fine, you can play Jackal, you can track people yourself, but now you have the choice of manually following footprints yourself or tracking them with less pings. You kind of have to communicate with your team and, and tell them you're going to be scanning a blue footprint, so they need to pay attention because they're only going to get 2 pings instead of the usual 5. So overall, I really love the nerf to Jackal. The one thing I would change though is the one thing that everyone is still complaining about: footprints lasting for 90 seconds. That is way too long. Matches are 3 minutes. Someone's footprints being there for like half the match. That's just still too long. I think they should bring it down to 60 seconds. So if you've played Jackal on a TTS, you can let me know what you think of the new changes. And if you haven't, well, as someone looking at these new changes who plays Jackal, you can also let me know what you think. But that's it for this video. So if you found this helpful, you can leave a like and share it around, and subscribe for more Rainbow Six Siege content. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.